What is up, my beautiful, beautiful peach? Today we are going to be talking through postpartum weight loss plateaus and really getting into why and how our body changes through pregnancy, through postpartum, and what you can do to get out of that plateau, because I know it is so incredibly frustrating when you are doing everything you can. You are working your tail feather off and you are not seeing the changes that you deserve. It is always because there is a missing piece. I'm trying to think of another analogy. I literally cannot think of another one right now, but it just means because you don't have the right strategy. There is a missing piece that you really need to tweak in order to get your progress rolling forward again. So, the first thing that I do want to talk about is how our bodies just change over time, because quite often women who are in postpartum, who are really struggling with that weight loss, it usually is kind of a twofold, multifactorial, different impacts happening to your metabolism that need to actually be looked at. And the very first one is just simply that as we get older, our metabolism changes. As we get older, our metabolism changes. End of story. That's just kind of the way that it is. And while, of course, it is not fun to, wake up and be like, man, I wish I could do something about this, the beautiful part about it is you actually can do something about it. I like to say the analogy of if you were thinking about a car, right? You've got your driver's seat, you have your passenger seat, and the person who's in the driver's seat obviously is the one who's in control of the gas, who's in control of, or electric, right? If it's not a true gas car, if it's an electric car, it is in control of the brake, it's in control of the wheel. That is the person who is making the car go forward. And also you have the passenger or the passenger princess, as I quite often am, who is the one who is the backseat driver, for being totally honest. Not necessary for this analogy, but I am definitely a backseat driver. I try and work on it, but I cannot help myself sometimes. Now, the thing about actually this is good to include in the analogy, the backseat driver. So let's pretend that we are postpartum and we are in the passenger seat. Whoever, we don't know who they are in our body, but something is in that driver's seat, and for whatever reason, they are just slamming on the gas, or slamming on the brakes, slamming on the brakes, and keep pushing us into a plateau where, it's like when you're having a dream and you feel like you know somebody in a dream, but you can't actually put a face to who it is, and you wake up and you're like, man, I feel like I knew who that person was, but you can't actually picture it. You can't picture the person who is in that driver's seat. You don't actually know what that underlying problem is, but it is just stepping on the brake. It is pushing you into that plateau, and you are frustrated passenger princess who is having all of the backseat driving, or I guess passenger seat driving, and saying what should be done, but you are so frustrated because you cannot get that person in the driver's seat to do what you want. That is what is going on. We cannot fully see who is in the driver's seat, but we want to be in that driver's seat. Now, when it comes to us just aging and us just, our metabolism slowing down, the main piece here is the metabolism is in that driver's seat. We want to get in that driver's seat and just say, all right, we're taking control. We are going to work on our metabolism health. Okay. Now, when it comes to pregnancy and postpartum, there are going to be shifts in your hormones, your energy needs, all kinds of different things are changing because you are growing a human, which is amazing, absolutely freaking amazing and wonderful, and something that is a joy, right? To become a mom and to have that in your life. And also, when we want to feel good in our own skin, it usually comes back to how we are eating, what we are consuming. And quite often for women, if we are imagining maybe things that we have seen on social media, things that we have seen in the diet industry, the nutrition industry, things that maybe you have done in the past before your pregnancy, it usually kind of sometimes tends to revolve around the big thing called restriction, where we are saying, okay, cool, so I know I want to lose weight. Well, I did a calorie deficit in the past and it worked. All right, cool, I want to lose weight. Well, I probably should stop eating sugar. I'm going to cut out some carbs here. Maybe I'm going to go low fat, right? And you start to think of these methods to lose weight that quite often revolve around cutting out food items, going into, a space where you're doing a lot more exercise, going into a space where you are under eating, and you're doing these actual shifts to your lifestyle, which of course we want to be doing. We think we're doing the best things to have that weight come off, but usually when we are going into a space where we are under eating and over exercising, it's actually going to be putting more pressure on our body. It's going to be actually putting more stress on our body, and it's going to be putting that stress in the driver's seat, which is going to be slamming on the brakes to any further fat loss, okay? And then on top of that, our metabolism simply changes during pregnancy and postpartum, okay? Our metabolism is just going to be changing up. It is going to be different for everyone, but that's kind of like the third piece coming into play, which we have the multifactorial, right? We are just aging. Then if we come into play with the piece of restriction and over-exercise, and then also just our metabolism changing, overall when we are going through pregnancy, it really, really just makes fat loss harder. And weight regain feels just unfair. It hits a point where it's like, this is simply just not fair. I am working so hard. The weight's just not coming off the way it did pre-baby. Everything I'm doing simply isn't working. And sometimes women will even see weight loss happen briefly. Like they'll have some weight start to come off during, once they've had their little munchkin, but then it's coming back on. And it essentially means that your body's trying to survive, right? Your body and your metabolism and the way that it is just simply built from when you were a baby is to help keep you living and breathing. It is to help keep your heart pumping. It is to keep your lungs functioning at their best. So you can take those deep breaths. It actually felt so good. I don't know why that was such a good deep breath. And so I want you to do a reframe here of, yes, things aren't working necessarily the way that they were in the past, but you are also in a new chapter of your life where you have just grown a tiny human, and you get to learn to change. And I said this the other day, I have become a person, I used to be very, very much the kind of person who just could not roll with the punches. When something came up that created a shift in what I knew, a shift in what I was used to, something that was going to push me out of my comfort zone, I would have I would be in the driver's seat, slamming on the brakes, saying, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I cannot roll with the punches. And I said, I wish I could remember it, but I said, we get to roll with the punches, grow with the punches. And let me see if I can find it really quickly, because I think I might still have it pulled up here. I was talking to some of my BPM clients who are just having these incredible changes and having so much growth, having so much momentum. And sometimes it is hard to have that growth and momentum. And it is a little bit, it's uneasy to have those changes happening. But the beautiful part about, honestly, the beautiful part about coaching and the beautiful part about having, an accountability system by your side is, in my case of my clients, you have my brain there, you have my motivation, so I can have those conversations with you when it does get hard, when things are a little bit more uneasy. And I now don't think I can find it, which I'm so sad, because, you know what, I bet it's right here. Okay, so I said, and I feel like I really liked the way that I said this, just randomly kind of rolled off my tongue, but I said we get to roll with the punches, grow with the punches, and thrive with the punches. And I think it is the mindset of life is always going to be changing. Things are going to happen. It's like when you make lemons out of lemonade, right? You just have to roll with the punches. And sure, your body isn't functioning the same way that it was when you were a teenager, but do you really want to be that small person who didn't have a head on her shoulders, who, was scared of the drama that was happening in the high school cafeteria? No. I look back and I have so often women who say, man, I really wish I had my body, the same body that I did when I was, in high school, but that body couldn't actually grow a human. That body hasn't actually, at that time, hadn't gone through so much growth that you have in life and over the years. And so a reframe is that I want you to recognize and understand that while, yes, your body might not be responding the way that it did in the past, It is different, and that's okay. It just means you need a different approach. And that's it. That's really simply it. You just need a different approach. So, and that's what I really want to talk to you about, because I want you to be able to, number one, have that recognition that sure, things aren't working the way that they used to, but that's not a bad thing. You just need a different system that's going to work for your body in this current season, okay? And as I was talking about our metabolism changing as we age, our metabolism changing through pregnancy, postpartum, and also a lot of times when we are, wanting to lose weight, either if this was before pregnancy or after, a lot of times we go into this place where we are under eating, we are over exercising. And also that is even kind of like a twofold scenario, because for many women who are, wanting to get pregnant, right? We are a lot of times trying to lean out, a lot of times trying to, lose weight, or you have lost that weight, but you've never actually healed your metabolism from that lower calorie intake, which essentially means that you have gone into pregnancy with a metabolism that's a little bit on the slower side. So when you do go start to eat more food, you do see that weight regaining happening. And also on the other side of things, if you have had your little munchkin and you go back into a place where you are restricting, it's still going to be pushing your metabolism into a place where it is in the driver's seat and it's just kind of chaotically driving or it's slamming on the brakes. And we just need to get you in that driver's seat. And the way that we are doing this is through a process, which if you have been around my podcast, I talk about this all the time, but reverse dieting. It is so often the way that we can get ourselves into the driver's seat and actually take over the process, get the right systems in place so you are going in the right direction. I talk about my gear example all the time, but if you imagine a machine and you've got this gear in the center and it is going in the right direction, it's just going around to the right, doing really well, no problems here, not slowing down. We've got all of these other gears around this main gear in the middle. All of those other gears rely on that main gear to continue to go forward, okay? They are all interconnected, but when this main gear in the middle starts to slow down, it starts to get wonky, that is going to make all of the other gears around it start to get wonky as well. So we need to heal the root issue rather than putting band-aids on. And healing the root issue means healing our metabolism, really taking a deep dive there and making sure that we are not slapping on band-aids. And band-aids would be, trying another diet, trying a cleanse. Okay, well, keto, which is low carb, didn't work. Cool, let me try intermittent fasting. Ooh, bummer, that didn't work. Let me do diet pills. Ooh, man, that's not working. Let me just eat 1,200 calories. Ooh, that's not working. Let me up the ante in the gym and do more cardio. All of those are band-aids. Those are not actually true solutions to the actual problem that is happening on the inside of your body that can be healed with food, period, end of story. Okay, with eating nutrient-dense food, with eating more food, but doing it in a very strategic way through the process of a reverse diet to allow our bodies to feel safe again, because that's what our bodies want. Always, our bodies just want to feel safe. Okay, they want to feel safe in the food that we are fueling them. And I'm not saying we need to cut out any kind of food. I in fact, literally for all of my BPM clients, encourage. And I've got quite a few moms in there. And I do not believe in cutting out foods unless it's like an intolerance or an allergy to or something that you're going to go into anaphylactic shock. Then yes, please, let's not eat those foods. My point here is, though, we're going to fuel 80% of the food that we eat on a daily basis with very nutrient-dense foods. We are going to then eat the 20% of fun foods, but it's also deeper than that. We are going to be eating the correct amount of food for our body. Therefore, when we have the correct macros, so we have the protein, the carbs, and fat that are correct for our body, we can start to tweak and adjust those, which is basically the same thing as us slowly but surely putting our foot on that gas pedal, right? That's what macro adjustments are. That's how we get momentum going forward. I think so many people think, okay, well, I'm just going to track macros and that's going to be it. And I'm going to see, that's going to solve the problem. That's not going to solve the problem. That is part of the solution, but that is not the solution, end of story. That is part of it. When it comes to the long-term, true, sustainable, genuinely sustainable solution, you need to have all the pieces. We need to be working on your relationship with food. We need to be working on your relationship with yourself. We need to be working on those macros macro adjustments. We need to be working on all of these different pieces coming into play. What are you doing in the gym? Can we tone it back so you're not overtraining, but you're having these quick and effective workouts? I personally right now work out 3 times a week, literally probably 30 to 45 minutes, and I have seen more muscle growth since changing. I used to work out 7 days a week. I bumped down to 5 days a week. Exponential growth, along with the proper macros, macro adjustments. Move down to, personally, this just works for me. People can work out 5 days a week and that's great for them. For my schedule, for my body, 3 to 4 days a week work perfect for me. And right now in my schedule, 3 days a week is what's working for me. My point here is it's about healing the system. It is about healing your body and giving your body the tools to burn more on its own. That is what this is about. So many women who are in this place where they are just throwing spaghetti at the wall. They do not understand what is going on with their body. We need to get you in the driver's seat. We need to get you slowly but surely putting your foot on the gas with a very, 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 very strategic plan. One quick note with macro adjustments. I say this with so much love. Please do not willy-nilly adjust those macros. I've heard people, and I have a macro calculator if you want to get your foundational macros, but so many women, they'll come to me saying, hey, I'm just like re-entering information into a macro calculator. I'm like, ooh, I love that energy. I love that excitement to adjust them. And also, we don't just want to be re-entering information. We are going to make strategic, very, very strategic adjustments to your protein or your carbs or your fat. We do not do just willy-nilly adjustments, and we do not do just 50 to 100 calories a week. That's not the way that we're going to see the sustainable changes. That is not the way that we are going to heal the system and really make sure you have the right momentum, okay? I do have past podcast episodes on that. Off the top of my head, gosh, I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. Let's see if I can quickly do this within like 15 seconds. All right. If you go to, gosh, I can't find it now, but if you go scroll a little bit farther back in the podcast, there are episodes where I talk specifically about why we don't do adjustments to our calories for reverse diet. I can't find it right off the top of my head. They're right on the top here, but I do highly recommend going to listen to those. There's plenty of other episodes that talk through all kinds of stuff about reverse dieting. Will you lose weight? Will you gain weight? All kinds of different pieces there. And something to add into is I think people, sorry, total sidetrack here. I saw something in my notes and it triggered like, oh wait, I need to talk about this. So go listen to those episodes. But now bringing it back to this one extra piece that I want to add in that's kind of a mental piece is I will have people who come to me and they say, I just need more discipline. I just need more discipline to not eat XYZ. I just need more discipline to actually make it to the gym twice a day for 7 days a week. No, that's not the problem. Discipline is not the problem. You are pushing yourself way too freaking hard and your body is not feeling safe. So it is slamming on the brakes, trying to get you to listen. If our body is giving us some sort of wonky result, you are having weight regain, you are feeling low energy, you are feeling low libido, you are feeling off, that is your body because it cannot literally talk to us, which would be very creepy. It can't talk to us, but it can give us the signs that it needs help, and you've got to listen to those signs. Otherwise, you are not going to get into a place, and I mean this with so much love. I recognize this is about to sound really harsh. I did not mean this to sound harsh. You will not get to where you want to go unless you are listening to your body and healing the root cause. You will not get to where you go if you are slamming on Band-Aids over and over and over. You are going to waste your time, money, and energy, okay? So just that's like the real talk for my mamas out there who are just tired of restricting, who are tired of not seeing results. I've worked with so many moms who felt like they could not eat more because they'd gained the weight. They had to earn the food through movement. Their body was different after their baby, and it is, and that's okay. It's nothing that is bad. It just means you need to tweak what you are doing and you need a different game plan, a different system, okay? It doesn't mean anything is broken. It's just a new approach that you need. And then truly the door to that sustainable fat loss is through healing your metabolism, is through that reverse diet. Trying another diet's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to lead to another rebound, to further pushing your body into that stress. And I really, really feel, from being... I've been coaching for over a decade now, for over 10 years now, which is so wild. And I've seen it all, right? Like I've worked with every scenario. There are so many different so many different life events and health events and things out there that will impact our metabolism and impact our body. And people think that they just need to try a different diet. They just need to, try a different restriction. And that's not the problem. That's the Band-Aid that is creating a further problem. It is that you need to heal the root cause, okay? I forgot that I had this in here. This is so true. Okay, so I have quite a few moms in my BPM coaching program, which if you are interested, please reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is it's like the little @ symbol, CSCHMIDT.fit. If you type that into your web browser, that will also bring you to my website. But please reach out. If I have spots available, then we can chat about it. They go insanely fast. It sold out within 24 hours this last round, and prior to that, I think it was like 27 hours or something like that. The spots go really fast. And also, if you get ahead of the game and actually reach out to me asking if I do have spots, it will kind of get you at the top of things. So when spots do open, you can grab one. So I do have these fun little wins from BPM. So I have a mom of 2. She had 2 kiddos who went from 1,400 calories to 23. It was actually, I think we ended up at like 25, a little bit over than that. And she overall lost inches, but she was in a space where she was stressing obsessively over good and bad food, and was in a place where she didn't want to. She basically was telling all of her friends, all her family, like, no, I don't want to do anything. She was work events. She traveled a lot for work, but she was also in a place where they did a lot of, she had a term for it too, but just like people would bring in little lunches and they would bring whatever food it might be. She didn't know what the food was, so she would find herself either not eating lunch or she would like munch on lettuce, and she just really wasn't feeling good. And she wanted to be that mom who could be the role model for her sweet little kiddos. And it was one of the most fulfilling things in the entire world, because she had a brand new baby. She had I think her son was a little over 2, and she went from this place of fear, of guilt around food, of guilt around her body and what she was doing, and literally spending so much time stressing that she was taking away from her kiddos, and she hated it, right? I mean, that's not a good feeling to have. And fast forward, eating all the food, seeing the weight, her waist went down so many inches, feeling so incredibly good. And she recently reached out. She has completed, I want to say we were done, gosh, I don't know. It was more recent that we were done, but she reached out again just saying, she's absolutely thriving. Those around her are noticing her, shift in her mindset. A few of her best friends, they went on a little girls trip, and she just is feeling so good. And that's the thing, right? Like this postpartum mom who gained all of this weight was feeling so unhappy. She's now lost 7 inches. I forgot that it was that many. 7 inches around her waist. She is feeling so good, and I want people to know, like, you are so deserving. You are so deserving and worthy of seeing these changes. You are not the problem. It's just that you need a different game plan. You just need a different game plan. So my last piece here is, please reach out if you are interested in my coaching. But I also do have my Heal Your Metabolism Starter Kit. It is actually still free. You can DM me the word Kickstart, KICKSTART. All one word is fine, or you can do 2 separate words, and I will send that. Over to you. It'll actually help you figure out where your metabolism sits, where it needs to be, and if you're eligible for either a reverse diet or a calorie deficit. So it will tell you all those pieces. There's also an extra fun little freebie in there, but you have to actually get the starter kit to get your freebie. It has to do with reverse dieting and timelines for reverse dieting, but that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spill the beans anymore there. So I hope this helps. I hope this kind of gives you the insight that when it comes to seeing changes, yes, you are in a different chapter of your life, and that's okay. You get to step up to the plate and be that woman who says, hey, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm in a different chapter of my life, and I am going to learn to, what did I say? You're going to roll with the punches. You're going to grow from the punches, and you're going to thrive with the punches. We're not going to fight it. We're going to understand that the game plan needs to change, and that's okay, and we're going to roll with it. We are going to roll with it. So please never forget your worth. Please never forget how capable you are. I know the diet industry makes us feel really, really terrible, and it makes us feel like we are incapable of ever seeing results. We are exhausted, we are tired, but know that you get to have hope, because there is a solution for you, okay? And please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out, please. I am in my DMs literally, I kid you not, I think I was literally in my DMs for 4 hours yesterday. It's literally like 2 to 3 hours normally a day, but there were so many DMs yesterday, I was in there for 4 hours. I really genuinely do my best to respond to absolutely everybody, except for the spammy people out there. I get the weirdest DMs of people who are just, I don't know, selling like weird things, like, I don't know. Anyway, just random stuff. And I'm like, or people who are like, would you like me? What is like the weird ones I get all the time? Buying followers? No, I don't want to buy followers. Like that is just nonsense. I just like weird things. I'm like, what the heck is this? Anyway, point aside, that was a random little side note for you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please never hesitate to reach out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, beautiful peach.